Hey, pals. Thank you for joining right on time. Thank you for grabbing your daily heart me. Pals, the setting that you and Mandy were talking about the other day, I just updated it where you can switch the screens. I don't know, or manage the screens or the layout. Governor, thank you for joining on in. Welcome, welcome, office hours with Dr. Johnson. How are you doing? Thank you for grabbing your daily heart me. Today's session is going to be a good session. I'm so interested in my guests. VibeWellness, I see you. What's going on? Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here, pals. So, pals, thumbs up. I see you. So, you know what settings I'm talking about? I was able to edit it for you and Mandy. Okay, Miss VibeWellness, thank you. Hey, how you doing? We're going to start off with segment one, which is just a brief topic of a trending topic in healthcare. Segment two is our interview, and then segment three will be our professor tips. Mandy, thank you for joining. Hey, how are you doing? I was just telling Pals, Mandy, that the setting that you were just telling me about, I was able to edit it for you and Pals. I think I did it right. Thank you for grabbing your daily heart me. So we'll see once our guest comes on up. We will see if I updated the right setting. Okay. As we all know, as we are hopping on in, we are grabbing our daily heart me, liking the live, and getting us to 5K. Once we hit 5K likes, we're gonna go ahead and get started on our trending topic in healthcare. Let me go ahead and send it out to all my model. Miss VibeWellness, thank you so much for grabbing your daily heart me. Settings. Thank you for sharing out the live. I was trying to share out the live too. The way how this new settings worked, I don't even know how to share out the live anymore while I am doing. Okay, my moderators got me. Moderators, you can share the live out. I don't know how to do it anymore, okay? Bear with me. So, once we hit 5K likes, we're going to go ahead and get started on our trending topic in healthcare. Then we are going to interview our guests for the day. I'm so excited for my interview today. And then we're going to end it off with some professor tips. The professor tips for today align with a couple of the videos that I have been posting as it relates to entry-level jobs. So I want to continue that track of entry-level jobs and preparing you guys for entry-level jobs and what entry-level jobs to look for, okay? Pals, thank you so much. I see you for sharing out the live. I was trying to add it to my story. I don't know how. Everyone that's tapping live, thank you so much. Let me see. Comment. Let me see. Settings. I don't know how to share this live. Mandy, I see you. Thank you so much for sharing out the live. Okay, the people will come on in when they come on in. I can't share out the live. You guys got me. You guys are holding it down for me. I see you. Thank you so much. Dr. Lolo, I see you. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome on in to Office Hours with Dr. Johnson. Segment one, we're going to briefly discuss a trending topic in healthcare. Segment two is going to be our interviewed guests. And segment three is going to be us wrapping it up with some professor tips that align with my recent videos as it relates to entry-level jobs in healthcare or health admin, public health, whatever you want an entry-level job in as it relates to healthcare. The list that I have provided, the two lists, because I did a part one and a part two, they can help you guys find you a job. VibeWellness, I see you. Thank you so much for sharing out the live. Once we hit 5K likes, we go over our trending topics in healthcare. We are going to bring up our guests. Let me update my goal. Thank you so much, pals.
When in fact, we do not. Whoops. I have no idea what these buttons do. I've never driven a stick in my life. My hardest roll yet.
You all know 8 is my lucky number, so all of my my goals are always going to be 8. 8 is my lucky number. Fun fact about Dr. Johnson, 8 is my lucky number. Thank you so much, pal. So once again, we're at 1.8K likes. Once we hit 5K likes, we're going to go ahead and get started on our trending topic in healthcare. I know it's crazy. The other day, I thought I knew. Whatever. In the meantime, I'm sure you guys are enjoying my tunes. I was trying to post this to my story. I don't know how. You guys just bear with me. It's all right. Great job. 2.4K likes. Once we hit 5K likes, we're going to go ahead and start off on our trending topic in healthcare. Mandy, yes. Infinity, yes. The sign Infinity for 8, but I was also born on January 8th, so 8 is my lucky number because that's the day I was born, January 8th. How are you doing, pals? Just checking out. Pals, I wasn't rushing you off the live. I was just on TikTok, just scrolling through, and I saw you on live, and I was like, let me just hop on in. I wasn't rushing you off. How are you doing, pals? Checking in with you. Miss Mandy, how are you doing? Checking in with you. Thank you for pinning that. Tap to 5K for trending topic in healthcare. Thank you so much, moderator. Oh, I found it. You see why you don't give up in life, where you can't give up? Okay, I wanted to share it out to my cousin. Okay, I got it. Say one minute. Okay, we're good. No, I was so glad I saw you. I did forget needed to prepare as well. No problem, pals. Thank you so much. We were at 3.2K likes. Once we hit 5K likes, we're going to go ahead and transition over to our trending topic in healthcare. Aaron, what's going on? Thank you for joining. As you're hopping on in, we are grabbing our daily heartbeat, liking the live, and getting it to 5K likes. Mandy, you know my grandma don't got TikTok. You know my grandma don't even got social media. You know my grandma don't even know what TikTok is, Mandy. There was one more thing. Oh, I'll wait till we get started. Yeah, this is good. Okay. Let me see if I didn't miss. I'm good getting caught up on school stuff. Perfect. Okay, Mandy. And then guess what, Mandy? Kudos to you. I see you preparing for school. I'm so glad to see you preparing for school, and I'm so glad for your first day for your new program. So I'm looking forward to hearing how your overall experience is. She got YouTube. Yes, she does have YouTube, Mandy. But you know what? I don't post. I'm so busy. I don't post the videos directly over to YouTube right when we go live. I wait maybe a couple of days or a week, so she always sees a lag, or she has a lag. She doesn't see them as they happen. So she's probably not going to see this until maybe next week or in a couple of days. Michelle Grace, I see you. Thank you so much for liking the live. So for those of you who have just joined in once again, we are grabbing our daily heartbeat, liking the live. Once we hit 5K likes, we're going to go ahead and get started on our trending topic in healthcare. Okay, let me add it to my story too. 1 second. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. So welcome. Thank you so much, moderators. I see you guys are on point. Perfect. And we put in that too. Trending topic in healthcare. Perfect. Thank you so much. Let me bring that up. I hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. Let me just bring up the laptop for our trending topic in healthcare. I hope everyone is doing well. Dr. Dom, thank you so much for stepping on in. You just made it in time for our quick trending topic in healthcare, and then we're going to get into our interview guests. So you guys know my trending topics in healthcare are not long. They're not dragged out. They're just some brief facts, some brief information that I found interesting that I wanted to share with you all. So the trending topic in healthcare today is the world's richest woman has opened a medical school. Okay, I'll repeat the title for you one more time. The world's richest woman has opened a medical school. Happy Tuesday, Dr. Dom. So, a couple weeks ago, 48 students, you guys know I have multiple screens, okay? 48 students walked through the doors of Alice Walton School of Medicine in Arkansas to become the inaugural class. Some came from neighboring cities, others from urban cities in Michigan and New York. Almost all had a choice in where they could become doctors, but took a chance on the new school because of its unique approach to rethinking medical education. Okay, so named after its founder, the world's richest woman and heir to the Walmart fortune, the school will train students over the next 4 years in a radically different way from the method of most traditional medical schools. What's this radical way? Let's get into it. And I know Walmart, we're kind of like on defense with Walmart, but that's a question I'm going to ask you guys after, okay? Nini Legacy, what's going on? Thank you for joining. We're just briefly going over our trending topic in healthcare. The world's richest woman opens a medical school, okay? So what is the radical way? Instead of drilling young physicians to choose symptoms after symptom and perform tests after tests, Alice Walton wants her school's graduates to keep patients healthy by practicing something that most doctors today don't prioritize. What is that? Something that most doctors don't prioritize: preventative medicine. Okay? Thank you so much. Preventative medicine, which involves caring for and not just treating the entire person and all of the factors from their mental health to their living conditions and lifestyle choices that contribute to their well-being. Okay? The world's richest woman has opened her own medical school. So now, with this, there has been a couple other rumblings of other very wealthy philanthropists wanting to do the same. How do we feel? Just briefly drop in the chat, because you know we're not going to stay on the training topic too long. Just briefly drop in the chat. How do we feel about philanthropists giving back and opening? Oh, and one more thing I didn't mention. The first 5 classes that graduate will be free. She's going to be covering the first 5 classes that graduate from her school. She's going to be covering their full cost, their full 4 years of medical school, right? So let's just briefly drop in the chat. How do we feel about rich philanthropists doing this route, opening schools and paying for, yes, the school is accredited, fully accredited, VibeWellness, fully accredited. How do we feel about philanthropists doing this? This is dear to her heart. Yes, we know Walmart has been up in the air, controversy. I know. She's doing this because it was like over 30, 40 years, she was in a very bad car accident. And she, countless times going to the doctors, going to the hospital. So she was able to witness for herself the broken system overall. She's seen a variety of different healthcare professionals while she was going through her illness and going through her injuries. So this is why she's wanted to open this school, the Alice Walton School of Medicine, and the acronym of the school is actually called AWESOME. Isn't that something? So how do we feel? Poor philanthropists can't do it. So now 2 things: they're either doing it out of the goodness of their hearts and it holds something close to them, like a tragic accident or a loss of a family or a disease that runs in their family, and they want to give back to the community, or is it a tax write-off? I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, right? But I'm realistic. Mind you, Walmart has been in a lot of controversy lately, so it makes you beg to differ. I think Alice Walton, she's doing it out of the kindness of her heart. Yes, she's the richest woman in the world. Yes, she don't have to do this, but she was in a car accident. She got banged up real bad, and she's wants to turn over her funds to help out the community. And she wants to make sure the healthcare professionals that she graduates are focused on preventative care. And in healthcare administration, or just healthcare overall, that's what we are always screaming: preventative measures, so you don't become a frequent flyer. What's a frequent flyer? Somebody who's constantly coming into the hospital, somebody who's constantly coming into the doctor's office. A frequent flyer. Let me just drop in the chat and see what we got going on. I just wanted to briefly drop you guys with that. Alice Walton, richest woman in the world, opening her own medical school. Okay, I see you in the chat. You like that they're focusing on preventative measures. I like that too. And I liked how she was covering the cost of the first 5 inaugural classes. So each inaugural class will take 4 years. So we could do the math. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone in the chat. Yes, Miss VibeWellness, it is fully accredited. Well, the bottom line is that if anything is going to improve with our healthcare system, okay, is it starting to fix the issue instead of just putting it towards a Band-Aid? Okay, I hear you. Someone like her will be required because guarantee the government is not going to do one thing, okay? Okay, y'all saying it, not me. The healthcare system in the U.S. is definitely broken, okay? It definitely is. Scream it, Dr. Dom. LOL, I have trust issues, so LOL, but at least it's happening. At least it's happening, pals. At least it's definitely happening. She had a reset. She definitely had a reset. You need money to open a school, especially with all of the cuts that this administration is doing. Dr. Dom, you want to open up that can of worms? I see you. But yeah, you're right. But you need money. You know she got the money. The lady is the heir to Walmart. The lady is the heir to Walmart. Everything in our healthcare system is about profit. The only exception may be like St. Jude. Oh, exactly, Dr. Dom. Educator Hobbs, welcome on in. I hope you had a productive and peaceful day today. We just went over my brief trending topic in healthcare, which was the richest woman is opening a medical school. Who is the richest woman? The heir of Walmart. So we were just briefly discussing our take on it and how we feel about the richest woman opening a medical school and paying for the first 5 inaugural classes that graduate from her school, the Alice Walton School of Medicine. Y'all research it, Google it, and if you guys want to learn more about it, research it. The Alice Walton School of Medicine. I also like Mark Cuban is doing disrupting the pharmaceutical industry. Exactly. I didn't know if I wanted to touch on that, but yes, I think I may touch on that next. But Dr. Dom, thank you for dropping that gem. Thank you so much for dropping that gem. So everyone that is new, there's a couple names who I'm not familiar with. Welcome on in. Welcome to Office Hours with Dr. Johnson. We just briefly went over our trending topic in healthcare, and now we're going to transition over to our interview. I'm so excited for this interview. This next guest, I saw her, I came across her page from the FYP. Dr. Dom once again said you need money to make a change. Yes, you do, and a difference. Yes, you do. Educator Hobbs, thank you so much for your support. So I came across this beautiful lady's page, her content, what she was about, what she was pushing out there. I felt as though I wanted to make sure I shared that with my community over here. So we reached out, we connected, and I'm bringing her up. So let me bring up our guest for today.
Hello.
Hello, Miss VibeWellness. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can see you. Can you see me and hear me? Whoop.
We can
What
hear
is
you, but
that? There we
we
go.
can't see
Okay.
you.
Hi. Can you see me and hear me?
Why do we do that? No, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Okay. Now, can
Okay.
you? Okay.
Okay, moderators, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. I love this. Okay, wow. Every office hours I upgrade, and I just want to shout out to my moderators for holding me down and supporting me so much. What do before we get started? What do you want me to go by, Miss Liness or Vibe Wellness? Because I see a lot of your videos. You say, "Hey, it's Miss Liness. How would you like us to address you today?"
My name is Lennis. So you can call me
Lennis.
Lennis. That's fine.
Okay, okay, Miss Linus. So first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time to step into office hours with Dr. Johnson. I'm sure you heard what I was saying about you. I loved your content. I love what you're about. I love
Thank
what
you.
you were pushing out. So I wanted to make sure that I shared what your gems over to my community. My chat is saying she is beautiful. Educator Hobbs. Yesterday, I showed your page to my sister, and my sister was said the same thing too, and she is chiming in as well too. So.
Oh,
Um,
thank you so much. Oh, I see one of my people here. One from my Vibe community. Hey, pals. Good to see you here.
Welcome on in. So, Pivot with Tiff, thank you so much for joining. Ms. Liness, these interviews are dedicated to you and dedicated for us to learn about you, learn what you are about. Can you just briefly start us off with your educational and professional background? Obviously, this is social media, so whatever name of the company or whatever organization you don't feel comfortable sharing on here on social media, you can kind of just hit us with some context clues. But just
Sure.
can you start us off with your educational and professional background? You don't have to go too deep into it. You can be
No.
brief because I have, like I told you, I do my homework. I have my questions. I was on your page last night. It looked like I was stalking you, but I wasn't. I was just collecting my homework.
Oh
Right,
wow, look at your notes. Okay,
right.
no
So
problem.
you can start
Yeah,
off.
I was educated at Spelman College undergrad, but my undergrad was in journalism. My graduate degree is an MBA with an emphasis in human resources. For the first 25 years, up until 51, I was a human resource professional. When I left, I was a C-suite, and I was in charge of nurse and physician recruitment for a large HMO out here in California. They're also in Georgia too, a few other places. Starts with a K, so you probably know who that is. Kaiser, that's the name, Kaiser. And then I left there because I had developed an anxiety disorder. Part of it was antidotal, but the other part I came to find out later due to my research and study that it was menopausal anxiety. But I
Wow.
decided that I wanted to take a year off to get well, and I took a sabbatical. And when it was time to come back, I decided that I wasn't going to put my hand back on the same stove that caused the illness in the first place, or contributory to the illness. I knew that I could not sit in one more meeting with the administrators about butts and beds. I just couldn't do it. And I was responsible for like 9 hospitals and 25 clinics or something like that. We could, over physician recruitment and nursing, knowing that I was recruiting people who were going to be okay working in a protocol-based system that basically requires them to get people only so well, because we want them to come back, because we have to have butts and beds, because even though it says it's nonprofit, it is a for-profit setup and institution. Couldn't do it anymore.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you so much for Table for Two podcast. I see you. Thank you for joining on in. Just staying on the conversation of hospital administration, you briefly shared with me that you had years of experience in hospital administration. Can you just briefly share how was your overall experience within that field?
My experience was really very good. My decision was based upon what I knew I wanted to personally do, or wanted to personally stop doing, because it was causing me anxiety. Just the idea of going to those meetings, just having those kinds of discussions. I wasn't on the technical side of the business. I was on the administrative side of the business, but I worked very closely with all of, the nurse managers, the doctor man, all those administrators, all those people. But my personal experience was really good. But it was good enough to show me that after so many, years, I just didn't want to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Thank you so much for sharing that and being transparent. Now, in our conversation prior to this, you mentioned 18 years in hospital administration and pivoting, okay? Over here in office hours with Dr. Johnson, I'm always discussing on pivoting in different majors, pivoting into different careers. Can you just briefly discuss pivoting into entrepreneurship, and what was your overall process?
Yes. Let me turn my fan off a little bit so I can hear you better. Well, my process was initially that I was just working on getting myself well. Right. And as I began to peel back the layers and take a look at the other things that could be responsible for the causation of my anxiety, that's when I discovered holistic health, mind, body, spirit approach, all of that. And the more I did the research on that for that year that I was gone, I was supposed to be picking up another grad degree, but instead I started taking classes on holistic health and a lot of other things. And I felt I had an affinity for it. And because of what I went through traditional medicine. I wouldn't say I was misdiagnosed. I was not properly diagnosed. And there was definitely nothing going on with causation. I found out that I had menopausal anxiety based upon an interview I did on my podcast with one of my guests. And she mentioned that term. I didn't know what it was. And that was after I had been into wellness for about 5 years. Okay. So it was a while that I was living with anxiety. So I decided, okay, if I'm going to have to live with anxiety, and I still haven't figured out at that time how to get rid of it, I cannot go back to work. So I felt like, okay, I'm going to build a business to help women over 40. Initially, I was going to use the skills that I had. I was a dancer for many years after college, many years. I danced for like 35 years, but after college, I danced for a year and a half with Dance State of Harlem. I hurt my ankle and used that as an excuse to go ahead and use my degree because I was starving in New York, and started working with my way up in human resources. But I decided I wanted to use my experience in dance to open up a dance studio for women over 40. And I did that. And what I found out was that so many women needed so much more than that. And I saw a need. So I started devising programs for them in terms of their overall health concerns so they could have a more positive experience in dance. So that's kind of how it started. It was a progression, but it was definitely a pivot for me. But what I did was I used the skills that I know I had and applied those to what it was I wanted to do later. I interviewed people for years, so I knew how to do the podcast. I've been podcasting for 18 years. I knew how to do that. I had a minor in nutrition, so I had some good basic understanding of that. But I was also just very good at building relationships and networks based upon being in charge of recruitment. So I found other professionals who had the expertise that I didn't have to collaborate with them to put together the programs that I offered my my clients. And that's kind of how the business grew.
Nice. I love that. Now, switching gears. Throughout this interview, we're going to briefly switch gears because I know we got a lot. I don't know what your time frame is. So switching gears, you mentioned holistic lifestyle. Okay, so let's just say everyone on here does not know what a holistic lifestyle is. Okay, what would you say are the steps to a holistic lifestyle?
Well, first of all, holistic living, just to give you a basic definition is basically when you are approaching life preventatively, addressing the needs of your mind, your body, and your spirit. So the first thing that I would do if I was looking at someone, the first thing I do with clients who want to start living holistically is take a look at their life right now and what's going on and why are they talking to me in the first place? Because usually when people are talking to me, there's something that's not quite right. They're not feeling well, or they know what the symptom is. And then begin to peel back the layers from a holistic perspective. I always start first with what's going on with you emotionally, what's going on at home, what's going on with your relationships, things like that. Because many times that piece right there is what's going on between your two ears, basically, or in your heart. Those things right there can exacerbate into other things that are lurking, and then they come forward as a result of this unwellness emotionally and mentally. So I would say for someone who wants to start living holistically is take a look at some of the quick fix things you can do. One of the things I think that holistic living for women over 40 in particular, or any person over 40, is very key because you're already going through transition and changes and everything else. So the whole idea of beginning to minimize the toxicity in your life, and not just toxic relationships, but maybe, you know, what you're eating, what you're cleaning your house with, all those kinds of things. Begin to look for opportunities to minimize that. And the toxicity can apply to the mind, the body, and the spirit. So you want to just raise your awareness of how you're feeling in those levels and what kind of quick fixes you can initially do. When you start that journey of holistic living, you may take away some things, but over time, it begins to get easier and easier. Usually what I say is not so much take away things, but add things that you know are healthy, okay? Add things that you know will make an incremental difference in terms of your health and your overall wellness. As you add those healthy and well things, then you'll want to start doing other things. Sometimes I think the whole wellness and holistic thing is overwhelming. There's so much information, so many different ways to look at it. So you start small and add some things. And you'll find that some of the things you used to do will kind of drop off because it just doesn't feel comfortable anymore because your awareness has been raised.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing that and giving us that breakdown. So this next question I want to ask you, normally I ask you towards the end of the interview, but I feel as though your content and the work that you do heavily aligns with this topic. Okay, so best practices for mental health. What does the Vibe Wellness woman do to stay on top of her mental health overall? Let's start there.
Definitely to reduce stress as much as possible because chronic stress is a killer. And I would say the majority of people who are over 40 are experiencing or in the middle throes of chronic stress. Stress has been tied to many, many things. And I would say for me personally, I try to do as much as I can to alleviate the stress. I make sure I walk every day. I meditate. I get up early in the morning and do my morning ritual of meditation, gratitude journaling, prayer, making sure I'm fully hydrated, get out in the early morning sun, go for a walk, and do as many things as I can that brings me a sense of joy. Stay present. You know, that's real important because when I start thinking about all the other stuff, it gets to be overwhelming. I'm happy to say that after, so many years, I left at 51. So it's been almost 18 years since I've been doing this. And I am so happy to say that I'm about 98%, anxiety free.
Nice. I love it. Thank you for sharing that, and congratulations to you on that achievement as well overall.
Yeah.
Staying on the topic, what would you say is good, or how can one overcome stress or past trauma from a holistic approach?
From a holistic approach, one thing that can be helpful is to get all that negative energy out of you, to free up space for more positive things to go in. Now, this is very simplistic, but it can work, and especially with therapy as well. So journaling, getting all that negativity out, all the things you have to say that are negative, and clear that space. And then once that's a place is cleared, to begin to replace that with affirmations, listening to anything positive, and also tapping. Tapping is emotional freedom technique, is a way to move the energy, and it is based on science. You tap on acupuncture points, which are energy synapses, and as you're tapping, you first have a setup statement which explains what the issue is, what you're upset about, or what's bothering you, whatever. And then once you've said that, because you're tapping right here on the supine part of the poem, and then after that, You start tapping on the acupuncture points using affirmation statements. And what this does is it moves the energy and it helps to create new neural pathways, new ways of thinking and being. And many times that can help alleviate trauma. But I am definitely pro therapy. I think in our country right now, we all need an emotional enema and then we need therapy. Because, I mean, right now, to me, an emotional enema is the only way because it's just so much. It's generation upon generation. You're talking about generational curses. I mean, from the time we got here, regardless of how you got here, whether you got here on a ship or you came here on your own, when you got here, you were met as an African American person or a person of color with racism, okay? And that's traumatic. And we've had generations and generations of that. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in right now, because people are just not healthy. So I think that using those holistic practices of journaling, getting it out, focusing on gratitude, focusing on the things that you're grateful for, because what you focus on, what you think about, what you ponder on truly can come to pass, even if it's not exactly that way. Sometimes proactively being grateful for something, it gives your mind something else to think about. It gives you a different way to reframe what's going on between your two ears. I know it sounds kind of hokey, but it's not. There is science behind why these kinds of reconstructing of our neural pathways, these basic methods, can really help. Another thing is grounding. Going out, especially first thing in the morning, take those socks and shoes off, go stand on that ground and just allow the Mother Earth to connect. Connecting with nature is extremely important. And most other cultures all around the world recognize that. Western culture, not necessarily a priority, but it should be, because that really does make a difference in terms of how we're feeling, especially the first fruits of the day in the morning sun. That's great for your circadian rhythms, and it's also great for just your overall wellness.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I went through your page and I studied your content and studied some of the questions I wanted to ask you. So the next couple of sentences are just content I pulled from your page, and I wanted you just to elaborate a little bit more on. So, first one, changing your mood using essential oils.
Mm-hmm.
Can you highlight that for us?
Yeah, the oils automatically go into the olfactory nerve, which goes into the brain, right? And that automatically speaks to the brain to do something different than what it's been doing in terms of how you're feeling. And there are essential oils like lavender, clary sage, yang yang, just to say a few, that can reset your mood. Clary sage is great for menopausal females, people dealing with anxiety and stress. Lavender is relaxing. Lang Lang is definitely good for depression, but there are essential oils and sometimes a combination of essential oils that work through the olfactory nerve, which goes into the brain, which helps the brain reset how it's feeling. And many times it will help solicit other hormones, usually the happy hormones. Okay. And for menopausal females, this is key because as our cortisol levels are going up and our estrogen levels are going down, we need to get our happy hormones going so that we can get those estrogen levels back up, cortisol down. So.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing. The next one, importance of morning rituals. The importance of morning rituals. Can you touch on that for us?
Yes. How you set your day very much will judge how the rest of your day is going to go. I had many, many years of running around like a chicken with my head cut off with my 4 daughters, raising them and being in corporate America and traveling and doing all the things. And one of the first things that I changed when I took that year sabbatical was how I started my day. So my morning ritual, as I mentioned before, is, first thing in the morning, I drink my lemon water. I do my gratitude journaling. I have a prayer line. I have 2 prayer lines that I go to. I make sure I get out in the morning sun. I do grounding. I do a quick walk. Things that help edify and uplift my spirit and my mental and emotional condition. I learned that first thing in the morning, my cortisol levels would be really high. And that was one of the reasons for my anxiety. So one of the things I learned was to make sure I got up first thing in the morning and moved around to drive those cortisol levels down. So there are so many things you can do from a lifestyle perspective that can kind of change the trajectory of whatever your unwellness is. And it could be that you can make those changes in such a way that you don't have to take a pharmaceutical, or you don't have to take them for an extended period of time, or you have to take less of it.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I feel like this live was just dedicated for us to receive gems. I hope you guys are taking notes. Miss Vanessa is dropping gems for us throughout this whole interview. Now, we go through so many different stages in our life. We experience so many different things, so many different ups and downs. And a lot of us are bound to experience depression, how would you say, from a holistic approach, of course, could someone overcome depression?
Well, depends. There's different levels of depression. I think most midlife women at some point or time. I keep saying women because that's my expertise. But in general, a lot of us have experienced depression or are mildly depressed, and some of our depression is anecdotal, and some of our depression is as a result of our lifestyles. Making sure you're eating healthy foods and replacing your B vitamins and eating plenty of protein is very important, because if you're not eating enough protein, then you're not going to have the right hormones secreted in terms of what you need to ward off the depression. But aside from all of that, movement is key. When you're moving and exercising, that does help the happy hormones. It helps you to feel better. Getting out in nature, okay, and communing with the greenery, Mother Earth. There is a chemical that trees and the grass and all that secrete that really does speak to our moods. That is why when we go to parks, we all automatically feel that aha feeling. Oh, okay, fine. That's part of the reason. Also, we are a nation of non-breathers. And if we're not taking the deep breath and breathing the way we do, because we're always holding our breath, because every time we turn around, it's breaking news, breaking news. That's tension, that's trauma. And we're holding our breath, we're not getting enough oxygen in. And so our brain is not functioning to optimum to ward off how we look and think or react to things. If you really start breathing more, you get more fresh red blood cells into the brain. And as a result, all of a sudden you feel better, you're thinking better. And that thing that was causing depression, you may be able to reframe that differently. But I really do think, even more so than anxiety, depression is something that you don't want to mess around with. And you definitely want to start talking with a therapist. Talk therapy, okay, with doing the holistic practices is probably one of the most amazing things that anyone could do for their mental health.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that once again. Going along on the sentences that I've collected. Negative experiences give us tools to keep moving forward. I want to repeat that again. Negative experiences gives us tools to keep moving forward. Can you touch on that?
Yes. And I'm saying that based upon my own life experience. And then as I got to know, I've worked with thousands of women over the 18 years and things that they've gone through. From a spiritual perspective, many times things happen that are really bad to you, that are really preparing you for something else along the way that you need to get prepared for. But for me personally, when I was 31, 37 years ago, my mom was hit by a fire truck on her way to work. And she was only 56 at the time. And how I found out was very traumatic. Also, my hormones are going all over the place because I had a 6-week-old baby and 2 other little ones. My dad was definitely still alive. I had a little sister who was 17, another sister who was in grad school. And I seem to have been the go-to person, okay? So I had to learn how to operate in a trauma thing. And it wasn't until almost 20 years later that I found out that that was one of the reasons for my anxiety disorder. And that's when I began my journey to figure out how to heal. If my mother had not been killed in that tragic auto accident, I would never have been doing what I'm doing right now. But it put me on this journey. And I had a lot of learning to do. I found out, initially I wanted to do everything online, and then found out the people that I wanted to reach weren't even online like that. 18 years ago, women over 40 were not online like that. But anyway, I kept at it because it was a spiritual thing for me. It was something that I felt that God had told me that I needed to do to get this message out here, that there was another way to live. And so on the other side of that tragedy came something very positive. I mean, I started out, I didn't know anything about social media. Now I have 200,000 people collectively on the internet following me. I have podcasts, I've had e-magazines, I have online courses. Just a lot of things that I do that I know are helping people. So when I look back at that tragedy, I realized that, not that I wish my mother was here to see her 7 grandchildren, to see my 4 daughters, her 7 grandchildren, my daughters, her 9 great-grandchildren. I would love for her to see that. But that didn't happen that way. But out of those lemons, I decided to make lemonade because of how it impacted me. And I knew that I needed to heal and change. And through all the things that I did and then wanting to share with the other women, I realize now that, I don't know if I would say it was a blessing in disguise, but, as they say, what the devil might have set up for, for something bad, God turned around for good. So that's what I mean when I say that on the other side of every tragedy, there is something there that you can pull from and reframe it in such a way that is helping others and maybe helping yourself as well. I find that helping others is a great way to minister to your own soul over time. And that was another reason why it really helped me with my anxiety, because I was helping other people with their issues. So that's what I meant by that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that's a good segue for the next question, or the next sentence. Make yourself a high priority. Making yourself a high priority.
It's extremely important. We can't help all of the people on our list. We can't get done all the things on our to-do list if we're not well. One of the things that I always think is interesting with life coaches, they perform a very important function. But I always worry a little bit about taking care of the wellness proportion, because you can get motivated, inspired, and become successful in everything else. But if you have high blood pressure, heart disease, and you're obese, and you're not sleeping well, your hormones are out of balance, you're not exercising, anything else, you're not going to live long enough to enjoy the money that you've made. So it's very important, especially as entrepreneurs, or if you are seeking another job or getting ready to make some kind of change, that the number one priority is to get healthy, so that you can really leverage that new experience that you're getting ready to have and be successful in it, both, not just in your career, but also in your personal life. Because when you are not healthy, things quickly go to hell in a handbasket if you're not healthy. So that's why I say that you don't want to put yourself so far back on the burner, okay, that when you reach back there to pull yourself up, you can't find yourself. It's just gone. So always make your self-care a number one priority.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. All of you just joining on in. Today we are interviewing VibeWellness woman. She is talking about everything holistic, making sure that we are putting ourselves as priority and always putting ourselves first in order for us to be able to help out our community and our family and friends overall. Continuing, staying on the topic, okay? Celebrating the small success in your life. Celebrating the small success in your life. Can you elaborate for us?
Yes, I learned that because, I had staffs of people that reported to me. I had my coworkers and all that stuff. And so whenever anything happened, it'd be, yay, yay, yay. Well, and so your celebrations are always outer directed, right? Well, as an entrepreneur, I'm here in this office in my room every day, and that's it. And there's no one for me to celebrate with. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't celebrate it. I mean, I would tell my husband, my kids, whatever, and they'd be like, oh, that's good, Mom. What's she talking about? So I had to learn to celebrate me and the successes, not just the big ones, but the incremental ones. Because when you're feeling good about something that you've done, it encourages you to keep doing that thing or to go on to the next thing. And especially if you're building on something, if you're building on making a lifestyle change, building on living more holistically, building on losing weight, or whatever it is that you're doing, celebrate those things that went well, okay? And give yourself grace on the things that didn't go well, because the reality is you can't be perfect. I go for like 80%. If I'm at 80%, which is what I consider my personal best, then that's great. The other 20%, oh, well, I'm human, get over it, But definitely celebrate those things that go well and give yourself grace for the things like, didn't quite go according to plan, but don't let that be the thing that keeps you from moving forward. It's a learning lesson. I always say that, delays are not denials. Sometimes they're for our own protection, okay? There's a reason why that happened. And you say, okay, dang it, but you keep going forward. Even if that means you might have to go around the denial, have to put it on hold for a minute, but you keep moving forward.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing that. And in the chat, you are lighting up the chat. They are in agreement with you. So much.
Okay, I see.
Exactly
I like that. She ready 89. I hear you. Because baby, I'm happy either way.
Exactly. I'm glad this is resonating with you. Thank you for joining on in. Next question. The purpose of Vibe affirmations. If you guys go over to Vibe Wellness Woman's page, she is consistently posting Vibe affirmations. So for those of us who may not be familiar with the content, what are your Vibe affirmations?
Go ahead. Oh,
Vibe affirmations. The purpose of your Vibe affirmations.
I believe that what you think about, what you ponder on, what you read, what you say to yourself, it truly comes to pass. It may not actually be there yet, but I believe that it will be. And I believe in having a mindset and repeating those things to you as often as possible. Also, there have been studies that have shown, and it's so funny because there were studies that were shown that this works, and there was another study that said that's Boulder Dash. Then another one that came out, it works. And so I'm thinking it works because it's worked for me. You can create new neural pathways in your brain, new ways of being and thinking as a result of using affirmations. Now, they have to be written correctly. I don't know if you don't have a penny in the bank and you're saying tomorrow I'm going to get $1 million, tomorrow I'm going to get $1 million, you're probably not going to do that. But maybe a little bit longer, you might get the, I'm going to, get the $1 million. Maybe later, we can do building blocks. So maybe instead I'm going to get $1 million is every day I'm moving closer and closer to my goal of being a millionaire. Every day, new opportunities open up. Every day I'm collecting money from the East, the West, the North, and the South. Those kinds of things. And because they really can work. And they also raise your awareness because then you start looking for opportunities, to make that true subconsciously. But I also believe from a spiritual perspective that the universe just rises up to meet you in terms of what it is that you're believing in God for. I do believe that.
Exactly. Staying on the topic of Vibe, the Vibe Living Podcast. What is the purpose of the Vibe Living Podcast?
Wow. You know what? I'm really proud of that podcast. The whole Vibe brand came to me after I had been in business for about 15, no, not quite 15 years. Vibe is an acronym. It stands for being vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and empowered. And I believe that's what all midlife women should be. Yes. And the Vibe podcast is in supportive of that philosophy. I get experts from all over the world, premier experts in the world of mind, body, spirit, wellness, and we talk about everything having to do with wellness. Everything. I just got through having somebody from this platform talk about relationships for women over 40 who are dating, the do's and the don'ts, and she is a relationship therapist. I had somebody else the other day, not too long, talking about cold purging and why it's impactful. Most of the topics we talk about are for my niche of women over 40, and I'm not anti-male or anything. I've been married for 24 years to my second husband, married 13 for my first husband, but it's because I'm a woman and because I was focusing on myself and healing. I just decided that this was something that resonated with me. And so all of the podcasts deal with things that have to do with women over 40 and some younger, because I've had a growing demographic of the 30 to 35, which is kind of where my kids are at. They're 30 on up. And it's funny because they listen to the podcast, their friends listen to the podcast. But here's the thing that's really I'm excited about. I just got from Apple Podcasts and the bodies that govern these kinds of things, that look at these numbers, that I'm now in the top 5% in the world for podcasts. So I'm really proud of that. People listen. So I'm really glad about that.
People definitely listen, and you have great content and great information to share. Jilly Willy, welcome on in. Thank you so much for stopping by and supporting. Today we are interviewing VibeWellness woman. She is a subject matter expert on a holistic lifestyle, a holistic approach. Mr. Ness, they are telling you congratulations in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jilly Willy and Desiree. And She Ready, I think. Yeah, thank you.
To wrap up all of my interviews, I ask all of my guests this question. What is your overall why as it relates to the work that you do, as it relates to your holistic living, as it relates to you being a Black woman in America? What is your overall why?
This came to me in a dream when I was, waking up full of anxiety, feeling like I was going straight downhill in a roller coaster with no restraints. And in this dream, it told me that I would be talking to millions of women about feeling better than how I'm feeling right now. Right. And that definitely has come true. And I continue to do it at 68 because I just feel like God's not done with me yet. There's something else I'm supposed to be doing. I mean, I just got on this platform in April. I could have stayed where I was. That's the 200,000, the other platforms. I'm not even counting what's going on here. But God's not done with me yet. I still have things that I need to do. And as long as I don't look like toe up from the flow up, I'm going to continue to do it as long as I have the energy to do it. But it's a spiritual thing, and I'm just being obedient to what God has told me I need to do.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for telling the story. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and transparent with our community over here in Office Hours with Dr. Johnson. We will definitely keep in touch, and maybe we can possibly collab again in the future.
Absolutely. And I would like to encourage everybody to come to my lives. They're Monday through Friday at 7:30. I'm sorry, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm in California, so that would be 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm usually on there for at least 2 hours or so. And yeah, you can always get the recaps. I know I do. Yep, I do the recaps, and I do the. They also now, if you get a subscription, you get the recaps, and you also get the videos as well, the replays. So,
Perfect.
thank you so much for the opportunity, Dr. Johnson.
Right. Thank you so much, Miss Liness, and we'll definitely keep in touch. I don't know how to, you guys moderators. This is a new way, so I don't know how to drop her down so that she can keep her points. So we'll let them release you. Okay.
Yeah,
Miss Liness,
they'll take me down. Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks
thanks
for
for that.
following me. I just saw somebody's following me. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, y'all are amazing. Shout out to my moderators because you guys, I keep telling you, I'm not a TikToker. Okay, y'all are holding me down. Thank you so much. So let's transition over into Desiree. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Thank you so much for that follow. I see you following me too. I just want to make sure. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Can I call you D? D Piper, I see you. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for stopping by. We're gonna transition over into Love You Too. Is she ready? Thank you so much. I love all of you guys. I love all of my supporters. I love all of my what's the word? Moderators. Let's transition over into segment 3. For those of you who are new here, you guys know that I break down my office hours into 3 sections. Segment 1 is the trending topic in healthcare. Segment 2 is our interview. The interview is always a great guest who is doing great work within our community. And then segment 3 is going to be Professor Tips. Perfect. There we go. Moderators, can we pin that? Perfect. So Professor Tips. Today's Professor Tips is going to align with some of the videos I've been recently posting as it relates to entry-level jobs in healthcare and mid-level jobs in healthcare. I have somewhat of an updated list of 10 companies that I want to share with you all. That's the professor tip I'm going to be leaving with you all today. I'm going to briefly go through them, okay? Moderators, we're going to drop the first one, which is Molina Healthcare. Now, these entry-level jobs, some of them could be patient-facing or non-patient facing. Some of them could be remote, or some of them could be on-site. The first employer is Molina Healthcare. I see it. Perfect. Thank you so much. The second one is Elevance Health. Elevance Health. The third one is United Healthcare. Even though they had a lot going on, even though their CEO, tragically passed away, they are still on the up and up. But the third one that I'm sharing that has current opportunities, remote and in person, is United Healthcare. And for those of you who don't know, United Healthcare is also partnered with Up. I can't pronounce it. My accent is strong sometimes. But OPTUM, Optum Health. Okay, so Optum Health, United Healthcare, same company. Okay, number 4, the fourth one, moderators, that I'm dropping is LabCorp. Perfect. I see it in the chat. LabCorp. Maybe I should slow down to give them time to pin it and then pin the next one. Molina Healthcare is pinned up. Molina Healthcare, various opportunities, patient facing, in person, and remote. Fourth one that I want to share is LabCorp. If you are a phlebotomist, or if you want to work with if you want patient care experience, or patient tech experience within a laboratory setting, LabCorp is a great option. They have they have more in-person opportunities than remote. The next one, number 5. Where's number 5? Number 5 is McKesson Healthcare. Years ago, many years ago, this was one of my first healthcare jobs that I got. McKesson Healthcare. McKesson Healthcare. If you go to the hospital, you see the box of gloves that we always take from the hospital. That's McKesson Healthcare. A lot of the supplies and the tools that they use at the hospital, either it's with cleaning or tools within their surgical rooms or within their bedside rooms, that's McKesson Healthcare. However, McKesson also does insurance billing, medical billing, and ambulatory billing. Okay, so the 5th one that I'm sharing is McKesson Healthcare. Is it dropped in the chat? I don't see it. McKesson Healthcare, number 5, y'all. Number 6, the next one that I want to drop is HCA Healthcare. HCA Healthcare. I used to work there too many years ago. I worked there at one of their level 1 trauma centers here in Miami, Florida. HCA Healthcare. Okay, I see McKesson Healthcare. Perfect. Next up is HCA Healthcare. Let's say you want hospital experience, or let's say you want ER experience. HCA Healthcare is all over the United States. HCA Healthcare. Number 6, no, that was number 6. Number 7 is Aviana Healthcare. Aviana Healthcare. Pals, I see you. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, thank you so much for closing out my goal. Okay. Miss Keena, I see you. Thank you so much. Let me just briefly set a new quick goal before we ended up out here. And you guys know 8 is my lucky number. Let me go ahead, do 8, confirm. Perfect. Thank you so much. You guys are great. We are at number 7. Miss Keena, thank you for joining. We're wrapping things up today on our professor tips. So far, I've shared 6 various healthcare companies that are currently hiring patient-facing, patient-centered, either in-person or remote opportunities. The number 7 that I just dropped was Aviana Healthcare, and it is pinned right now. We're going to go on to number 8, Johns Hopkins University. You guys know that's a well-renowned medical school and hospital. Johns Hopkins University, they have a lot of remote opportunities available. Various opportunities available at Johns Hopkins University. And you know what's crazy? I get lots of messages relating to where can I work? You guys literally have to just search those places that you would never think are hiring like a healthcare role, or search those places where you guys would think that they would not be hiring something related to the field of health admin. Johns Hopkins University, yes, you can find somebody came on here and confirmed to me, a few weeks ago, they jumped in my chat and was like, hey, I work at Johns Hopkins University, and they were saying, Dr. Johnson, come get a job at Johns Hopkins University. They work at Johns Hopkins University and they don't even live in the city. I think, yeah, Johns Hopkins is in Baltimore. They do not live in the city. That's another thing too. When you're looking for these remote jobs, just it will say remote in whatever state it's in. Still apply. Just as long as you see that remote, apply. I see y'all. Thank you so much for hitting that 50% goal. Number 9, Atrium Health. Atrium Health. When you guys are looking for these jobs and it says remote in such and such city and it's not your city or state, you better still apply. Because I know I do. Okay. Next one, Atrium Health. Okay, I see it, Mandy. Number 10, the last one. Oak Street Health. Oak Street Health. Once again, I'm going to repeat. When you're looking for these jobs and it says remote in Florida, remote in Georgia, remote in Texas, but you live in New York, but you live in North Carolina, but you live in DC, you still apply. When you are looking at the job description, just make sure that your specific state is not excluded. If your specific state is not excluded, you better still apply. Okay? Most certainly, she ready. I hope you guys enjoyed today's session. Let's just close out my last 2 goals, y'all. We have 2 more roses left. Let's just get me to my lucky number 8. There's 2 more roses. I ain't begging. I'm just saying let's just close on my goal for analytics and research purposes with TikTok. I have 2 before we end the live. There we go. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll see y'all. Once again, thank you so much to my supporters. And thank you so much. Big shout out to all my moderators. I appreciate you all. You all continue to fuel me and continue to allow me to come on here and drop gems and connect with great individuals on here to continue doing the great work that I'm doing, which is building the community around healthcare administration, building the community around everything professional development. The concert was amazing. Chris Brown is our modern day Michael Jackson. I'm gonna leave it at that. Chris Brown is our modern day Michael Jackson. I'm gonna leave it at that. It was a great concert. He put on a good show, and we were kind of nervous because it was the Miami show and it was the first show, so we don't know if there's gonna be any hiccups. He performed 3 hours straight, so it was a great show. Thank you so much for asking. It was definitely a great show. Once again, Chris Brown is our modern day Michael Jackson. I'm going to end it off here. I will see you guys again next Tuesday, but maybe there will be a pop-up chats with Dr. Johnson throughout this week. I won't let y'all know. I'll just pop up, and if you guys make it, you make it. If you don't, you don't. But as you all know, and as I saw, pals, you were in the chat dropping it. This session will be posted up on YouTube, and it's the 3rd link in my bio. Thank you so much for joining. Have a good night. Have a good night, everyone. Looking forward to it. Have a good night, everyone. I'll see you all next Tuesday.